So at the start, I'm going to teach you a little bit about gears to go through some of the things we learned last week, and also to build another very simple machine. And then afterwards, I'll give you guys some time to decorate and improve your machine to turn it into one of these, okay? Of course, this is an aeroplane. This is a very special aeroplane. It's a very old aeroplane called a biplane, okay? You know that it's called a biplane. It's like a bicycle. Bicycle means you have two wheels. Why do you think we call it a biplane? Who wants to raise their hand and tell me why we call this a biplane? If a bicycle has two wheels, what does a biplane have? Excellent. So it looks like everybody's ready. So if you look at this, we have now a big wheel and a small wheel. So the difference with this gear to last week's gear system is that we have something called a different gear ratio. That means that when we are spinning one gear, the other gear is not spinning at the same speed. So gears are very, very useful for letting us change the speed of something, like a race car, okay? So that's something very, very important. And to do that, we have to make sure that we put our driving gear has to be bigger than the driven gear. What happens if we swap the position of these two gears?
Much slower.
It's much slower, right? Fantastic, Bill.
Yes.
Very, very good. So, if we have a gear that is small, the driving gear is small and the driven gear is large, then what happens here is we do something called a gear reduction, okay? So before we were making it go faster, but now we are making it go slower. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're going slower, you're also making it go stronger as well. So that is why not all gears are about making it go faster and faster and faster and faster. Because when you're going slower, you also increase the strength. You can feel free to decorate how you'd like your aeroplane to look. So here, we've got a couple of wings and also a propeller. And remember, if I want the propeller to move faster, what do I do? What do I do to make the propeller go faster? Who remembers what we do to make the propeller go faster? Charlotte.
Switch the gears.
Switch the gear, that's right. So we'll need to change this tiny little gear to a bigger gear. So that will mean that you might have to shuffle your design around. So for me, I'm going to try and make it a bigger gear now. So I'm going to move my wings back a little bit. Going to take off my handle. And then I'm trying to change this little gear into a big gear. And Charlotte is absolutely right, because if I make it a bigger gear, it's going to make it go faster. So I need to take this whole thing off because otherwise I'll find it hard to take this gear out. I need to change this little gear into a bigger gear. Maybe a big gear like this one. Put it back on. And then, here we go. Make sure that it is meshing. Here we are. And all of a sudden, whoa, check that out. Moving much faster. And that's all because, just like what Charlotte suggested, I just changed the gear ratio. I just made it a much higher gear ratio by making that small gear into a big gear. And now my plane is going to go much faster.